sure I wanted my time to take you right, but you were wrong. You tried to take me, but I knew all along you can't take me for a ride. I'm not a fool now, so you better run it out.
All right, let's keep it moving. On the Nancy Skinner Show, I'm Nancy Skinner. 1-888-64-NANCY. That's 1-888-646-2629. A very thoughtful op-ed piece indeed in the New York Times a couple days ago by former Governor Christine Todd Whitman of New Jersey, who writes, "It's still my party," and she's as a governor and then as the head of EPA has had a long record of trying to maintain her position and role as a moderate, I would say, and help her party to find its center, let's say, its Zen-like center. And Governor Christine Todd Whitman joins us to talk about her thoughts on this whole dust-up of who the party is and whose party it is and all the other stuff around it. So, Governor, thanks for joining us.
I'm delighted to be with you, Nancy.
So it seems almost as if there's a listening tour going on with Eric Cantor and Mitt Romney, and I'm watching this happening. The Rush Limbaugh, obviously, the debate about is he the de facto leader of the party, and they're trying to figure out which way to go. Isn't it? My first question is, before we get into your piece, is it uncomfortable for you to watch the whole scene play out this way, this kind of fight? And
It makes me laugh at times and makes me worry at other times. I mean, first of all, the group that's going around, I'm delighted they're going around. I'm delighted they're listening. I wish they just weren't all men. And with the exception of Governor Jindal, all white men. And if we want to be a relevant party for the future, we've got to be broader than that. Mm-hmm. And that means we've got to bring in the women and the minorities to the whole listening program, whatever they're doing, to the whole idea of how do you broaden the party. You've got to listen to some other voices. Mm-hmm. And be able to emote with them. And certainly what is troubling about it and frustrating about the other part, Rush Limbaugh being set up as the spokesperson for the Republican Party, it's a brilliant strategy on the Democrats' part because he's very polarizing. He's got an enormously loyal listenership, and they think he's just terrific and everything he's fine, and you've got people who are just vehemently affronted by the kinds of things that he says, and I don't believe he does represent a majority of the Republican Party nationwide. Maybe those that are, now we're getting down to 21% of those who say are willing to admit, voters who are willing to admit they're Republicans. Yeah. Maybe he has a majority of that 21. I'm sure he does, but that's not going to be a national party.
Yeah, you're a brave woman, but you're a brave woman indeed, Governor, to even say that, to say you don't think he represents the party, because others have said that, and then they have to go back and actually apologize. So, he has, for better or worse, he is exerting his power when people go back and, well, I didn't really mean what I said.
Well, but I think you're talking primarily about Mike Steele, who's the National Party chairman, or somebody who is in office now whom he can affect by ginning up the base in their districts to come out against them. But even when he does that, I still do not believe that that's a majority of the party. And if some of these candidates would just stick to the guns of who they are and say to the people, look, I'm going to disagree with you on some issues, I'm going to agree with you on others, but the really important things on which we need to concentrate, things like getting the budget under control, getting this economy back in shape so that you can live in your homes and have a job and have a future and get health care to a point where you can afford your medication, that's what we're going to concentrate on, not the social issues that keep dividing us, and we're going to try to be about the business of the country.
Now, you spell that out in your op-ed piece here, and you include environmental policies, which you were a champion of the environment. That's my background as well. And Governor, it wasn't comfortable for you to be in the Bush administration where you had sort of an ideological opposition to environmental protection. You've had your battles. You actually publicly had to come out and go up against these guys.
That was very frustrating, and when I went into it, I expected that there were going to be differences, obviously, with the Democrats and differences with the environmental groups, but I thought the President and I were on the same page. What I didn't really expect was and some differences on the Hill, was the enormous amount of pushback from Republicans on the Hill, and then having to do the 360 because there were many in the administration who didn't exactly support the kinds of things we were trying to do. But, to a certain extent, you expect a bit of that because you're not the one making policy. They're serving at the pleasure of the president, and it's their policy, and you may not always agree with it.
But you were right, and they were wrong. That must get to you because there's broad public support for environmental protection, and the polls were always there. And this just seemed like a foolish position to hang your hat on, as the environmentalist wackos and whatnot. And I have to ask you what you think of the ruling now by the EPA to regulate CO2 as a pollutant. What's your thought on that?
Well, it's going to be very, very complicated. I've always said I thought that needs to come from the Congress, that really the worst way to do it is to have EPA do it because it's just going to end up in court, and you're not going to get any progress. This is the kind of issue that we elect people to debate. This is what they're supposed to do. This is an issue of enormous importance to our economy, to our environmental health, to not just our country, but to the world, and they ought to have a serious debate on it. And I noticed today they're getting a lot of pushback within the Democrat Party. There are those Democrats from the Midwestern states who are mad at EPA because of a regulation they put out on biofuels who say they're not going to support anything in climate change. So there are going to be some real battles here.
Well, yeah, you point that out in your piece that you're concerned about the concentration of power by one party unseen on going back to the FDR days, but they're Democrats, so I wouldn't worry so much. They'll find ways to fight amongst themselves and blow a good opportunity. But do you really worry about that? Do you think that you say we need two parties? Don't you think, Governor? Here's my thought. It seems to me that when you have divided government, nothing gets done, and that President Obama ran on this agenda, and he is doing everything he said he was going to do. And when you have the filibuster, as we do, procedurally, as you know, almost nothing gets done. And these big issues like environmental energy policy, healthcare, none of that can get done because the parties look at partisan gain, and it's always in their interest to sort of stop the other party from succeeding, even if that's what the American public want and voted for. You're
right and you're wrong. If you look back over, for instance, let's just take environmental policy. Every major environmental regulation, or 99 9/10% of them, that we use to protect the environment today were signed by a Republican president working with a Democrat Congress. All those major pieces of legislation, the really tough stuff.
Yes, I've said that many times. NEPA was Nixon, right?
And you look at welfare reform. That was Republican governors working with Democrat governors, coming down to work with Republicans on the Hill to get President Clinton to sign it. So all our the really complicated issues and the major pieces of legislation have been passed with bipartisan support. Where you're right is that today the atmosphere has gotten so partisan and so poisonous in Washington that they don't seem to be able to work together at all. It's considered disloyal to your party if you talk to members of the other party. Mm-hmm. And if you don't agree with leadership, 100%.
Right. So that's what you point out, Arlen Specter. You regret that he left, but you're saying that he was so criticized by members for not conforming to their exact ideological platform that he was almost forced to leave.
Yeah, and he was being challenged constantly from the right, and it takes a toll. I mean, we've seen it time and time again with moderate Republicans who have decided not to run for re-election, particularly House members. I've said, I'm just tired. I'm tired of having to raise the kind of money I have to raise to fight off the conservatives in my primary when, as we've seen with Specter and Toomey, if Tom Ridge doesn't get into the race, and Tom Ridge may get into the race, and that changes things, I think, completely, frankly, there. But if it is a race against Specter and the Republican presumptive nominee at this point, former Congressman Toomey, Specter trounces him. He did it 6 years ago. He does it in the polls today, so we lose the seat.
Well, what is he doing now? Because he said, I'm not a loyal Democrat, and some things coming out in the New York Times about him wanting to help some Republicans. Is he like half in, half out of this thing? Is he having regrets?
Well, I think he must be having some regrets now, because what the Democrats seem to have done is they've heard him say that he is not going to be in lockstep with them on everything. He's going to continue to be the kind of senator he has been in the past. And like him or not, at least he is someone who has acted on what he thought were the best interests, in the best interests of his constituents. And he's always voted his conscience that way, even though you may not agree with that. But what the Democrats have done now is they've stripped him of all seniority in his committees. And I would bet anything that they, at the same time, gave him a wink and nod, said, you'll get these back if you stay with us in these next few critical months. It's going to be very interesting to see, but that's something that has to have been a surprise to him, because to lose the committee chairmanship that he had, and to lose his seniority on these various committees is going to hurt him, I think, in his reelection effort. Because part of that was, I'm senior and I do a lot for the state.
Yeah, but the president has already committed to helping him in that state and standing by him. So even if he does have a Democratic primary, in that state. Last question, Governor Christine Todd Whitman. Actually, two quick ones. So, in this whole debate about the party and what they need to do, there's two themes going on. Go back to the Reagan basics, we talk about this, and then a whole kind of new, younger, hip people saying, hey, wait a minute, we can't just, and you say this in your piece, we can't be the party of no. We have to find, like, environmental policy, cap and trade. Are you for cap and trade? Are you for, like, a whole different set of ideas instead of going back to the same old Reagan-esque cut taxes, big, less government, cut taxes? I mean, there's got to be new ideas themselves, not just going back to what Reagan said and re-saying it, correct?
Absolutely. And, when I say look at the Reagan years as some examples, it's more in his ability to get things done and to say, when he said, if somebody's with me 70-80% of the time, they're my friend, not my enemy. So as far as from within the party is concerned, that's when I go back. I say, let's go back to the Reagan years. He understood what constitutes a good Republican and what doesn't. And
the last question is, what's next for you, Governor? What are you doing, and what are you going to do?
Well, I have a business that works on helping companies see how they can improve their environmental profile and still make money. And I'm going to continue to work with the Republican Leadership Council that I co-chair with Jack Danforth to try to get the Republican Party back to the center, so it's a viable and a realistic and influential, loyal opposition. And
there's no office in sight? You're not ginning up a committee?
You never say never, because people don't believe you. But I don't see running for office again.
Well, I think you should, because I think you do. We need more women and more people, sensible people on your side of the aisle. So
we definitely need more women. There's no question about that.
Cut the deal on that. We might have one in the Supreme Court. It might be Governor Jennifer Granholm, who I worked for.
Really?
Yeah, she's in contention as a governor, and she was a former attorney general and prosecutor, and I think she's my pick for who he will pick, given...
Well, that would be interesting, because it's been a while since we've had somebody from outside of the legislative process, the judicial process, elevated to the Supreme Court, and that used to happen, and they bring a kind of a common sense application to the law and to these decisions that I think would be important to have there.
Yeah, and Justice Ginsburg said we needed one, and I heard Harry Reid say, yeah, we need a woman and we need a governor.
Well,
so
that gets pretty specific.
Yeah, and that narrows it down. Governor Christine Todd Whitman, thank you so much. We really appreciate you spending a little time and your thoughts on the GOP with us today.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. Take care.
Okay. 1-888-64-NANCY. See, that's it. I mean, if they had more moderate people like that, then we'd have sort of opposition. But right now, when you got these guys in back and all the teabaggers, come on. They've discredited themselves. If you got serious people like Christine Todd Whitman and others, she did. She stood up against the Bush administration. It was very hard for her politically. She took a stand on the environment. That should be a great GOP issue. They should jump on that bandwagon. Conserving the environment. And the whole religious aspect of that should appeal to evangelical Christians, right? It is starting finally to take some traction. But the whole rape and pillage the earth thing? Yeah, that's like, yeah, I've never seen that in the Bible. Oh, they plunder. Oh, yeah, Rush will actually point that out, that it is our God-given duty to, what's the word? It's not plunder. You'll think of it. 1-888-64-NANCY as we continue on the Nancy Skinner Show.
Stay tuned for a 1,000,000 bottle giveaway announcement. Do you have troubled skin, acne? Well, against the better judgment of our management team, we're going to prove to you once and for all that Proactive works. So if you want to try it, give us a call, because we're going to let 1,000,000 people try Proactive and receive our legendary refining face mask free if you call right now. You heard it. Be one of the first callers and you'll receive a 60-day trial of Proactive Solution risk-free, plus a free refining face mask when you call 1-800-689-3073. Proactive's combination therapy system uses prescription-grade acne medicine and soothing spa-quality botanicals to create a powerful acne-fighting system. It's so effective it transforms blemishes and bumps into clear, smooth skin. You can have beautiful, healthy-looking skin. Put us to the test and we'll prove it. Get your risk-free 60-day trial plus a free refining face mask. Call toll-free now, 1-800-689-3073. That's 1-800-689-3073.
8. I deliver your Sunday paper every week.
7. We work on the same floor.
1 in 8 Americans is struggling with hunger.
6. Our kids walk to school together every day,
Including millions of children and seniors.
5. We chat in the elevator at work sometimes.
4. I'm your cashier at the grocery store.
Who's the 1 in 8 in your life that needs help? You can make a difference through Feeding America at feedingamerica.org/1 in 8. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Vaccinations are one of the best ways to keep your child healthy. Though no parent likes to see a needle heading their child's way, it's much easier when you know what to expect. Hi, I'm Heidi Murkoff, author and president of the What to Expect Foundation. For answers to your questions, including the latest on combination vaccines, get your free copy of the What to Expect Guide to Immunizations online at whattoexpect.org and talk to your doctor about the vaccines your child needs. A public service message from the What to Expect Foundation.
Heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women. This is Senator Patty Burkhalls, and I'm joining with Women in Government to talk about staying heart healthy. Getting screened for HDL, LDL, and triglyceride levels is very important. Eating right, exercising, getting regular checkups, and taking doctor-prescribed medications can also help reduce your risk of heart disease by as much as 80%. Visit womeningovernment.org.
That last apartment looked more like a tool shed.
That's because it was a tool shed, dear. I thought I'd show you the less than desirable apartments first because your credit is less than acceptable. But no worries, plenty of apartments. Let's try this one.
It's a broom closet.
Don't be silly, dear. It was a broom closet. Now it's apartment 3AA.
Potential landlords can and will check your credit before giving you a lease. Don't let your credit put you in a bad place. Go to controlyourcredit.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Ad Council.
We all make excuses for not saving energy.
Next time we'll get those new light bulbs. Next time I'll load the dishwasher all the way.
Maybe it's time to save the energy and money and resources we can.
I'm thinking about tomorrow, today.
We can all help save more energy for tomorrow. What's your excuse? For more energy-saving tips that also save money, visit loseyourexcuse.gov/parents. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy, the Ad Council, and this station.
Mom, thanks for taking me to work. Gee, there are lots of people here who don't look like you. Asian people, African Americans, Latinos, everybody's different.
Yes, and those differences are good because they mean different ways of seeing, thinking, and doing things.
So how come where we live, everyone looks just like us?
Diversity shouldn't be left behind at work each day. In our neighborhoods, we can prepare our children for the global life that lies ahead. To better understand the benefits of diversity in your community, log on to www.aricherlife.org. Brought to you by the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Your own issues with your own party. Clearly, you've had to split with your party. Has Harry Reid approached you? Are they wooing you to come over to the other side as well?
You know, all of us who are centrists have been approached by the opposing party on various occasions, but I'm very happy being a moderate Republican. That's my DNA, and I cannot envision circumstances which would cause me to switch parties.
Moderate Republicans, a rare and dying breed. We just talked to former governor of New Jersey, Christine Todd Whitman, on the Nancy Skinner Show. 1-888-64-NANCY is the number to the program. She says the party has to change its ways to attract a bigger tent is what her prescription is, as the Republicans are trying to find themselves. Let's go to New Jersey. Someone who is in New Jersey, Rich, who is what you're upset that I interviewed her?
I'm upset. And Nancy, first of all, let me say I love you, and I promised your screener, and I meant it, that I would neither scream at you nor curse at you, okay? And I won't, because I love you, but I think you're very misguided about your political stance and why you're getting a lot of hate email from people on the left. First of all,
I get more love than I get at least 10, 100 times more. I'm glad we're talking to the other side. I'm sick of all the
love email than hate mail, Nancy. I'm really glad to hear that. And I'm not hating on you. I'm not a player hater. Okay, here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I lived in this state my whole life. Christine Todd Whitman was perhaps the worst governor we had in my lifetime in the state of New Jersey, okay? And I can say that authoritatively because my third cousin, her predecessor, Donald DeFrancesco, okay, just carried on her policies, okay? And the policies of the Bush administration right down the line. She lied about 9/11. She lied about the environmental...
Hey, Rich, I'm not going to... Rich, I only have 20 seconds. I'm going to put you on hold, okay? Because I want you to be able to finish what you're saying, certainly, as I always do. But I only have 20 seconds. So we will hold and get your calls. People are objecting or happy that I talked to her. What do you think of Christine Todd Whitman? Hey, maybe she could be someone on there if they want to find this song. Maybe not. I don't know, but we'll talk about it. 1-888-64-NANCY, 646-2629. That's the number to the Nancy Skinner Show. Hi, friends. Nancy Skinner here. So you know I'm a finance major. I talk a lot about business, right? Well, my dad, Chuck Skinner, was the original entrepreneur in this family, and he's done it again. A few years ago, my mom slipped and fell on an ice cube from the automatic dispenser on the refrigerator. Okay, Mom was 74 years young then, so it was pretty scary. So my dad invented, tested, and patented the ice cube catcher. It's an attractive molded plastic lip that attaches to any size fridge because it's adjustable and catches all those dangerous and messy cubes before they hit the floor. And it comes in colors for all refrigerators, white, black, and stainless steel.
Hey, for $9.95 plus shipping and handling, you can't go wrong.
Call 1-888-4A Ice Cube Catcher. That's 1-888-4A, the number 4, letter A, Ice Cube Catcher, or 888-424-2328. Or buy one online at icecubecatcher.com. Oh, and they're made right here in Michigan in the good old US of A. That's 1-888-4A Ice Cube Catcher or 1-888-424-2328.
Hi, this is Richard Boggs, founder and CEO of Nationwide Tax Relief. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, listen carefully. 2009 is here, and the recent federal bailout has given the IRS more power to collect back taxes than at any other time in history. However, due to our current economy, thousands of hardworking Americans who have never qualified for tax relief before now qualify. For a limited time, my attorneys can achieve a 50 to 90% tax debt reduction for many, many clients. If you are suffering from wage garnishments, bank levies, an audit, or unfiled tax returns, the best opportunity to settle is right now. If you owe between $10,000 and $1 million to the IRS or the state, your fresh start is one phone call away.
Call 1-800-757-9621. That's 1-800-757-9621. 1-800-757-9621.
People have all kinds of excuses for not saving energy. I'll turn it off later, so we don't have those Energy Star appliances.
Well, maybe it's time to stop making excuses and save the energy and resources we can.
You just never know what people will need in the future.
We can all help save more energy for tomorrow. What's your excuse? For more energy-saving tips that also save money, visit loseyourexcuse.gov/parents. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy, the Ad Council, and this station.
A bright future starts with a healthy lifestyle.
Pinocchio, I'm a real boy!
And the food pyramid will help you find the right balance of everything you and your child need. Grains, vegetables, fruits, oils, milk, and meats and beans.
Nothing can stop me now.
Just eat right, be active, and make it balance.
Attaboy, Pinocchio.
Visit mypyramid.gov to learn more. That's mypyramid.gov. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
8. I deliver your Sunday paper every week.
7. We work on the same floor.
1 in 8 Americans is struggling with hunger.
6. Our kids walk to school together every day.
Including millions of children and seniors.
5. We chat in the elevator at work sometimes.
4. I'm your cashier at the grocery store.
Who's the 1 in 8 in your life that needs help? You can make a difference through Feeding America at feedingamerica.org/1 in 8. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Vaccinations are one of the best ways to keep your child healthy. Though no parent likes to see a needle heading their child's way, it's much easier when you know what to expect. Hi, I'm Heidi Murkoff, author and president of the What to Expect Foundation. For answers to your questions, including the latest on combination vaccines, get your free copy of the What to Expect Guide to Immunizations online at whattoexpect.org and talk to your doctor about the vaccines your child needs. A public service message from the What to Expect Foundation.
Heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women. This is Senator Patty Burkhalls, and I'm joining with Women in Government to talk about staying heart healthy. Getting screened for HDL, LDL, and triglyceride levels is very important. Eating right, exercising, getting regular checkups, and taking doctor-prescribed medications can also help reduce your risk of heart disease by as much as 80%. Visit womeningovernment.org.
That last apartment looked more like a tool shed.
That's because it was a tool shed, dear. I thought I'd show you the less than desirable apartments first because your credit is less than acceptable. But no worries, plenty of apartments. Let's try this one.
It's a broom closet.
Don't be silly, dear. It was a broom closet. Now it's apartment 3AA.
Potential landlords can and will check your credit before giving you a lease. Don't let your credit put you in a bad place. Go to controlyourcredit.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Ad Council.
We all make excuses for not saving energy.
Next time we'll get those new light bulbs. Next time I'll load the dishwasher all the way.
Maybe it's time to save the energy and money and resources we can.
I'm thinking about tomorrow, today.
We can all help save more energy for tomorrow. What's your excuse? For more energy-saving tips that also save money, visit loseyourexcuse.gov/parents. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy, the Ad Council, and this station.
Mom, thanks for taking me to work. Gee, there are lots of people here who don't look like you. Asian people, African Americans, Latinos, everybody's different.
Yes, and those differences are good because they mean different ways of seeing, thinking, and doing things.
So how come where we live, everyone looks just like us?
Diversity shouldn't be left behind at work each day. In our neighborhoods, we can prepare our children for the global life that lies ahead. To better understand the benefits of diversity in your community, log on to www.aricherlife.org. Brought to you by the National Fair Housing Alliance.
All right, I'm spending a little bit of time on politics. Forgive me. I did Banks. On the Nancy Skinner Show. 1-888-64-NANCY. This is pretty funny because I didn't get to it earlier. The Eric Cantor and Mitt Romney et al. Are on a listening tour to figure out what they should do to regenerate their party. Okay. And it was pretty funny because after they were on CNN saying that they were launching this listening tour and telling everybody that, he said, what we're trying to do here is kick off a series of town hall forums so that we can get back to listening to the people. So my babe, Rush, didn't like that. His reaction to that was, we do not need a listening tour. We need a teaching tour. That's what the Republican Party or / the conservative movement needs to focus on. Listening tour, ain't it? So what did he do? Did Cantor stick to his guns? No. He went on Joe Scarborough's show and said that the party's rebranding does not amount to a listening tour. No. We'll get the audio, but Joe, really, this is not a listening tour. So he went on CNN and said it's a listening tour, and then Rush disses him, says we need a teaching tour, not a listening tour. You just heard Governor Christine Todd Whitman say she's glad that they went on a listening tour, that they need to be listening and changing their policies and moderating, and that Rush Limbaugh is not the leader of the party, but he is effectively, Eric Cantor is the whip. So he is effectively getting these guys to say whatever he wants. 1-888-64 Nancy. We were talking to Rich, who is from New Jersey, and he thinks that Christine Todd Whitman is anything but moderate, as he was just saying right before the break. And so I want him to continue his thoughts. So you think she was a conservative governor in New Jersey?
Yeah, well, she was a conservative governor because she was right down the line 100% with everything that Bush stood for. Okay, the only thing she disagreed with him on was pro-life issues, abortion rights issues, pro-choice. That's the only thing she disagreed with him.
Rich, you know what? She resigned in protest to his EPA rules on pollution. So she said,
after she lied to the people of New York about the fact that there were no consequences to all the dust and soot and ash that was thrown up in the air after the towers came down. She lied about that.
All right, let's get this.
They investigated her about it. They did not press any charges against her, but she was investigated for that.
Yeah.
And there were people who were calling for her indictment. And because we have a bunch of weak-kneed Democrats out here, okay, they dropped the indictments against her.
Okay. Well, I know she did make those statements. I'm granting you that she went out there and said, "Don't worry, the concentrations of dust aren't great enough for you to be harmed." And
that was a lie, Nancy.
In fact, they were. But I'm also setting the record straight. You said she had no disagreements. I followed her tenure at the EPA. Obviously, the environment being my issue. There was a big battle at the time that there was a rule that that they were trying to push at the EPA that would allow larger pollutants to go through. I mean, there was a law, a Clean Air Act law, saying they were going to try and reduce the size of the pollutants because there are direct deaths tied to it. And I forget the numbers, but there were public hearings, and I testified at those, and it was really political because all the big polluters and the utility companies were fighting the public health specialists who did not want these soot particles. They wanted this rule to go through so that you could have less deaths. I mean, they could tie these to tens of thousands of deaths, the number of soot. She resigned. Cheney was the leader of the pack, and Bush was, following Cheney. She resigned in protest in 2003 after conflict. She said she could not enforce that rule personally. So you got to give the woman some credit that she stood her ground and resigned office.
For that, I'll give her credit. But for her tenure as governor, she ruled as a conservative. You even just allowed her on your program to call the Democratic Party the Democrat Party. I don't know why you don't stop any Republican when you have the opportunity to do that from libeling or mislabeling our party. All right, they should not be allowed to be called. Party.
Rich, I didn't hear that, but if I
correct her when she said that,
I didn't hear it. So you're correct on that. I didn't hear her say Democrat Party, but if she did, then that bugs me.
She also was the person, when she was the governor of this state, to start the rating of the government employees' pension funds, which has since completely spiraled out of control. And the government employees are facing massive layoffs in this state now and cutbacks as a result of the tax policies instituted largely under the Whitman administration, carried through into the Corzine administration.
Okay. Hey, listen.
The woman is not a moderate. She is a conservative. A moderate, you know what a moderate Republican is? A moderate Republican is a Republican who wants to say whatever they need to say to get elected, like Arlen Specter. A moderate Republican now turned Democrat who's only saying what he needs to say to get elected. Will say whatever he has to say to get elected. There are no moderate Republicans
Rich,
anymore.
Okay, I got to move along here, but I'm glad you took the time to share your thoughts from New Jersey about Christine Todd Whitman. You don't like the woman.
Take care, Nancy.
You bet, Rich. Okay.
Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. Let's see. Let's move along. 1-888-64 Nancy. I mean, I look at. Hey, I don't know her tenure in New Jersey, Rich, because I wasn't there. But I'm just saying that there are a couple of them. I would like to see these people, like Susan Collins said, she's not switching. I would love to have them switch. So to me, if they continue on the right to further go off the deep end, and then these people switch because they don't want to be associated with that, that's great to me. And anyone who would resign in protest about protecting the environment against the Bush administration. You got to give her some credit for that. Let's go to Janie in L.A. Hi, Janie.
Hello.
Is it Jamie? Oh, it's Dave. Dave, I'm sorry. I thought you were Janie, a different caller. Hi, Dave in Buffalo.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Good. I understand what you're doing with your, I guess they call it a shtick on your show, and I appreciate it, so I'm not going to criticize you. My point earlier about, I do like the fact that you were outraged about them tearing those homes down.
Yeah.
The point I made to your screener was that public money was used on the infrastructure in those neighborhoods, I assume, unless they're private developments.
Yeah, they were private. Well, private homes. I don't. I'm not.
I mean, but like a townhouse community, where the roads are privately owned, but it's a public streets. The infrastructure, the electric, the water, the paving, the establishment of those new neighborhoods. Local tax money was spent to create that environment for those homes. Mm-hmm. And second of all, an empty lot and pay tax, would pay very little tax income as opposed to an occupied house. Even an unlived in, unoccupied house would pay more in local tax and fees and so forth that those towns are losing out on now. And so it's costing us twice. You know what I'm saying? The infrastructure cost us money, and now those homes being off the tax rolls cost us money.
Yeah, off the tax rolls and further degrading housing values. And we're trying to prop up the banks, because they're facing. This is the sick cycle I'm talking about. We're giving them money to help stem the foreclosure crisis and to fix, get these upside down people to stay in their houses so that all of our housing values don't go down. There's a whole housing plan, and they're getting money. At the same time, they're taking that money and tearing down brand new houses. I think what you're saying about the public infrastructure is even worse. We lose the tax. So then you have the states and localities are losing huge amounts in the tax base. And who's making up for that? The government has to step in and make up for that.
Yeah, it's artificially inflating. If you believe in supply and demand, it's artificial intrusion into demand because an abundance of homes would bring the values down so that more people could actually. Now, those who are shopping are more likely to able to afford a home.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. You made my point stronger, Dave. So thanks for doing it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. 1-888-64 Nancy. We got lots more to move in today. I got to cram in a lot. Wow. Swine flu death, the first one. Oh, yeah. There is that story. The Justice Department saying no criminal charges to attorneys who wrote those memos. No one cares about that. Right? I think I'll give you the latest update on that and what Harry Reid said about it. What other people are saying about it. So what's going on? Oh, I'm on CNBC tonight, by the way, at 8:45. So I don't know what we're talking about yet, but I will figure it out. Check me out there. Website is NancySkinnerLive.com. I love me, hate me emails. I really do. Some of the emails that are the nice ones and that you get me. Honest to God. And Sharon, my webmaster, who's so wonderful, brought me to tears. They were so wonderful. And will buck me up through this. I will be okay. So 1-888-64 Nancy is the number to the program as we move along.
There's a credit crisis in America, and it's not just on Wall Street. It's affecting almost everybody. Are your credit card bills overwhelming? Are you watching your whole paycheck disappear, just trying to keep up? With interest rates as high as 30%, trying to keep up's a losing battle. It's time to do something about it. You don't want to file bankruptcy, but you've got to get some relief. Call American Debt Relief. We'll help you put together an action plan tailored to your needs that will get you out of debt in months instead of years, all while saving you thousands of dollars. If you're serious about getting out of debt, call the professionals at American Debt Relief for a free confidential consultation. Remember, this isn't bankruptcy or one of those consumer credit counseling programs. It's American debt relief. Professional, reliable, and most importantly, affordable.
Call 1-800-965-4290. That's 1-800-965-4290. 1-800-965-4290.
8. I deliver your Sunday paper every week.
7. We work on the same floor.
1 in 8 Americans is struggling with hunger,
6. Our kids walk to school together every day,
including millions of children and seniors.
5. We chat in the elevator at work sometimes.
4. I'm your cashier at the grocery store.
Who's the 1 in 8 in your life that needs help? You can make a difference through Feeding America at feedingamerica.org/1in8. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Vaccinations are one of the best ways to keep your child healthy. Though no parent likes to see a needle heading their child's way, it's much easier when you know what to expect. Hi, I'm Heidi Murkoff, author and president of the What to Expect Foundation. For answers to your questions, including the latest on combination vaccines, get your free copy of the What to Expect Guide to Immunizations online at whattoexpect.org and talk to your doctor about the vaccines your child needs. A public service message from the What to Expect Foundation.
Heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women. This is Senator Patty Burkhalls, and I'm joining with Women in Government to talk about staying heart healthy. Getting screened for HDL, LDL, and triglyceride levels is very important. Eating right, exercising, getting regular checkups, and taking doctor-prescribed medications can also help reduce your risk of heart disease by as much as 80%. Visit womeningovernment.org.
That last apartment looked more like a tool shed.
That's because it was a tool shed, dear. I thought I'd show you the less than desirable apartments first because your credit is less than acceptable. But no worries, plenty of apartments. Let's try this one.
It's a broom closet.
Don't be silly, dear. It was a broom closet. Now it's apartment 3AA.
Potential landlords can and will check your credit before giving you a lease. Don't let your credit put you in a bad place. Go to controlyourcredit.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Ad Council.
We all make excuses for not saving energy.
Next time we'll get those new light bulbs. Next time I'll load the dishwasher all the way.
Maybe it's time to save the energy and money and resources we can.
I'm thinking about tomorrow, today.
We can all help save more energy for tomorrow. What's your excuse? For more energy-saving tips that also save money, visit loseyourexcuse.gov/parents. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy, the Ad Council, and this station.
Mom, thanks for taking me to work. Gee, there are lots of people here who don't look like you. Asian people, African Americans, Latinos, everybody's different.
Yes, and those differences are good because they mean different ways of seeing, thinking, and doing things.
So how come where we live, everyone looks just like us?
Diversity shouldn't be left behind at work each day. In our neighborhoods, we can prepare our children for the global life that lies ahead. To better understand the benefits of diversity in your community, log on to www.aricherlife.org. Brought to you by the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Honey, what does a family want for their son? A girl who's warm, sensitive, understanding, lovable, and beautiful.
Oh, Donald, am I that girl?
Diamonds, daisies, snowflakes, that girl. Chestnuts, rainbows, springtime. Is that girl? She's tinsel on a tree. She's everything that every girl should be. Sable, popcorn, white wine, that girl. Gingham, bluebirds, Broadway. Is that girl?
That girl. Am I that girl? I'm not that girl. Marlo Thomas. Good try, Craig. It is a Nancy Skinner Show. 1-888-60. What is it? 64 Nancy. Oh, Nancy. As we muddle along here today. No, I'll be fine. Lots of emails coming in and out about the Democrat thing that I missed. Apparently, I missed. You know what I think about that? That used to bug me. Really bug me that was one of the tactics, right? The switch from calling people members of the Democratic Party to the Democrat Party. I don't know who invented that. But, you know, after a while, it's like kind of stupid. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Then we should just come back and laugh at that and kind of say, yeah, well, that Democrat Party, controls the government because of the ideas. Okay, not ideas. Ideas, the ideas that you have. So you can call us the Democrat Party. Do you think it worked? Honestly, do you think there was a smidgen of effectiveness in adopting that tactic? So it's kind of childish, I think, for me as I look at it to say, oh, boy, you called a Democrat. Whatever. It didn't work for him. It never worked for him. So 1-888-64-NANCY. John is in Los Angeles. Hi, John.
Hi, John. I'm John. I'm losing it.
You're John. Hey, I'm Nancy.
Nancy, I was a long-term Democrat, and I got to be honest with you. I switched many years ago, and I'm not understanding what the big brouhaha today is, a listening tour, whatever. I think people got to look at one thing, and that is how politics affects them. And the way politics affected me when I was in college and I was in high school, I was the bleeding heart liberal. I was in Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. I even flew to Alabama. I was in some marches. You can tell how long ago that was. But as I got older, unfortunately, I found the very party that I was backing was the extra set of hands reaching in my back pocket. Their tax burden was outrageous under Carter, and it just kept getting worse. Actually, Carter was the worst. It got better after him. But I decided I couldn't support a party any longer that basically was going after
actually,
me.
Kennedy was the first one to lower the top marginal tax rate. It was way worse under Eisenhower and others. It used to be somewhere of upwards of 93% at one point in our history. So, the whole idea, John, I got to disagree with you on this. If the Democrats need to fight a myth, it is that Republicans are better for the economy, because there is not a shred of historical evidence to support what you're saying. The economy has always been better. Under Clinton, we created 22 million new jobs. If you look, and I've seen this side-by-side study of Republican presidents and Democratic presidents, there was every single Democratic president is on, if you list them in terms of their records, is above every single Republican president in terms of what they have done for the economy. And so the idea that they say they're fiscal conservatives, and he goes in and blows this deficit up to $1 trillion. That's why these people are so upset. You want to believe you're a fiscal conservative, John, and I think that the label is confusing you. But the ones who are the grown-ups, when Clinton went in, he raised that top 1% rate. What he did is he sent a signal to the bond markets that he was serious about fiscal discipline. So the bond markets loosened up, rates went down, lending started, and that's why we had the greatest growth spurt in that century, second only recovery. I just completely reject the idea that you became a Republican because they're better for the economy. They absolutely are not. There's not a shred of evidence that has suggested it. In fact, it's just contrary to that.
Are you going to let me answer that?
Sure.
Okay. As I said, which obviously you didn't hear, it's all relative to how I did during that, and all my friends who graduated college, who had basically the same kind of jobs. And number two, the other thing that you're forgetting about Clinton was president during the tech boom. When the tech bubble bursted, all the things Clinton did went almost down the crapper, because all my stocks lost almost half of their value within a month of Clinton leaving office, because the tech boom was over. I was stupid enough to be invested in tech stocks. So Clinton shouldn't be getting all the credit. The tech boom is what really took that part of the late 90s
and the stock,
all the way up.
The stock performance of the Bush administration is far worse than the stock performance of the Clinton administration. And here's another tax, John, that you haven't figured into your calculation. Under the Bush presidency, 45% of the world's wealth disappeared under the laissez-faire, greed is good, no regulation. 45% of all the wealth in the markets completely evaporated. We've never seen anything close to that in our history, ever. And so you want to tax, if you look at it, your 401k has lost 40% of its value, most 401ks. That's the biggest tax in history on Americans.
Well, yeah, my 401k lost a lot of value, and not quite 40 because I'm a little smarter than that. But mine lost in the 30s. But again, that's my fault because I was invested in a lot of very speculative stocks that after the tech boom, they imploded on.
But it's not just you, and there are a lot of people with pension funds that invested in very secure AAA, big cap, blue chip companies who lost. I mean, look at these companies who are losing value. Google losing value. Companies that just had huge.
Well, yeah, but Google was part of the tech boom. Google was part of the Microsoft, the Cisco systems, which I had. I was heavily invested in the auto industry.
Look at GM. I mean, look at there you go. There you have it. Look at the Dow Jones, industrial firms, and what they've lost. So it's not just the tech boom, John. It was the fact that the lack of regulation, the repealing of regulation, allowed so much speculation to go on with essentially that created this, we have to bail these guys out. And then when the whole thing collapsed and the confidence in the system collapsed, we lost 45% of the world's wealth. And job rates, when we're getting job rates, if they're happy with 500,000 a month right now, if they don't get 640,000, which is going to keep cascading, and you switch parties because they're better at economics, now that one I'm just going to have to crucify you on, because that's what we need to be talking about. The record is clear, John. You should consider, if you're whatever your social issues are and your economic issues, if you want to keep your money safe, you should be a Democrat. That's exactly what you should be, and we'll work on you, John. We'll get you back. More of your calls coming up in the next hour. 1-888-64-NANCY.
It's like you see right through me and make it easier. Believe me, you don't.
Stay tuned for a 1,000,000 bottle giveaway announcement. Do you have troubled skin, acne? Well, against the better judgment of our management team, we're going to prove to you once and for all that Proactive works. So if you want to try it, give us a call, because we're going to let 1,000,000 people try Proactive and receive our legendary refining face mask free if you call right now. You heard it. Be one of the first callers and you'll receive a 60-day trial of Proactive solution risk-free, plus a free refining face mask when you call 1-800-689-3073. Proactive's combination therapy system uses prescription-grade acne medicine and soothing spa-quality botanicals to create a powerful acne-fighting system. It's so effective it transforms blemishes and bumps into clear, smooth skin. You can have beautiful, healthy-looking skin. Put us to the test and we'll prove it. Get your risk-free 60-day trial plus a free refining face mask. Call toll-free now, 1-800-689-3073. That's 1-800-689-3073.
We all make excuses for not saving energy.
Next time we'll get those new light bulbs. Next time I'll load the dishwasher all the way.
Maybe it's time to save the energy and money and resources we can.
I'm thinking about tomorrow, today.
We can all help save more energy for tomorrow. What's your excuse? For more energy-saving tips that also save money, visit loseyourexcuse.gov/parents. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy, the Ad Council, and this station.
Mom, thanks for taking me to work. Gee, there are lots of people here who don't look like you. Asian people, African Americans, Latinos, everybody's different.
Yes, and those differences are good because they mean different ways of seeing, thinking, and doing things.
So how come where we live, everyone looks just like us?
Diversity shouldn't be left behind at work each day. In our neighborhoods, we can prepare our children for the global life that lies ahead. To better understand the benefits of diversity in your community, log on to www.aricherlife.org. Brought to you by the National Fair Housing Alliance.